Welcome back to Heidi's Kitchen at myownbody.ca. Today we are going to make a vegetable dish, a mushroom and rice loaf. It's a meatless loaf, I call it. Thank you for the comments and the feedback on the kitchery. I received several pictures that you guys made of the dish and it looks delicious and I hope you enjoyed it. The mushroom loaf or the meatless loaf is really quite simple and it's lovely because you can make it ahead of time and you can serve it as like on its own, or you can make something else with it if you want some potatoes or some additional vegetables, even though there's quite a bit in here. So it's pretty basic. We have rice and quinoa today I mix in, but you can just use rice, mushrooms of course, spinach, celery, onions, eggs, peppers, sun-dried tomatoes, ghee to start out with, but you can use olive oil. I have pumpkin seeds and pecans chopped up here. You can substitute it with any other nut, almonds, sunflower seeds, walnuts. I'm a big fan of adding nuts to my vegetable dishes because they are not only, they give it a really nice texture, but they're also, of course, very good, high in protein, etc. I'm using a little bit of nutritional yeast. It gives a bit of a cheesy flavor to things. And then I have a tiny little bit of vegetable broth that I'm going to mix in to the sequence. So we're getting started by simply heating up a good sized pan. And I'm going to add my ghee or olive oil, whatever you have. Just a tablespoon or so, nothing too major. Make sure it's reasonably warm, like a good medium heat. And then I'm going to put my onions in it first. Onions go in it first. Dish, there we go. And I'm going to keep them in there until they soften and become a little bit transparent. Okay, we're going to add celery and garlic. And again, just stir it and let it sit for about maybe 3 or 4 minutes. If you need to add a little bit of olive oil or a little bit more ghee, by all means do. It shouldn't burn. It should just become nice and glossy. Okay, I'm adding the mushrooms and I will let them sit and stir them until all the juices are released and evaporated. Okay, so it'll take a few minutes. What I did forget to say, preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And for me, I always make sure I have my rice pre-boiled, right? That's the first thing I do before I make this dish. I make a batch of rice, or in this case I made a batch of rice and quinoa, which ends up to about a cup, maybe a cup and some, that is all ready to go, pre-cooked when we blend it into the mix. Okay, the mushrooms are soft and evaporated a little bit. I'm going to add the spinach, not very long. Just enough until it kind of softens a little bit. Just for a short little while. And then I'll add my pepper. I have them chopped up quite a bit. They can come in here. They could come in earlier too if you don't like this taste quite as strong. And then I'm going to add my sun-dried tomatoes. They give a nice taste to it. Alright, we're going to let this sit. I turned the burner off. It's getting nice and soft. In the meantime, we are going to mix together 4 eggs, a little bit of mustard. If you have Dijon mustard, I threw a little bit of ketchup in there, just for taste, whatever you kind of feel like really. Now, we're going to whisk it up nicely. And then add a little bit of nutritional yeast. I'm going to say yay much. 2 tablespoons, give or take. It's not really that important. Do less first, see if you like the taste at all. And then I'm adding my vegetable broth to it. And then I am adding a tiny little bit of fennel, just because I like fennel and it gives them a little bit of a nice taste. You can add other things, for example, a tiny little bit of chili peppers if you want. That's up to you. If you like it a little spicy, I'd be very careful with them. Again, less is usually more for spices. It's more the variety that counts. Okay, so I have this blended. I am adding my vegetables into my mix of eggs, like that. Beautiful. I'm adding my rice and quinoa mix, or just rice, whatever you have, into it. And I'm adding my nuts also into it. And then I'm just going to mix it up. You don't have to do it with a whisk, you can do it with a spoon. Again, whatever works. Now I'm using a bread pan to bake it. You can either use a glass form, which is really nice because you can see it and it doesn't tend to stick as much. I will use this dark one for now. And all I will do is pour this lovely mixture into my pan. There we go. All right, this is the lovely pre-oven thing. It's going into my oven. I turned it up to 400 degrees and I'm putting it in there for about 40 to 45 minutes until the top becomes slightly brown, the edges become brown. Keep an eye on it. It depends, of course, on your oven as well as on the form you put it in. And then we wait. Okay, it's been 45 minutes and the meatless loaf should be done. Lovely. This is what it's looking like, and we're going to let it sit for about 15 minutes just to cool off a little bit before we tip it out and turn it over.